We are here for wide receivers. Y'all are doing wide receiver rankings in this episode. I'd like to welcome in my co-host once again, Josh. How's it going, big dog?
It's going great. I'm so ready. We already talked about my favorite position, running backs. So now it's time to talk about my second favorite position, which is, of course, the wide receiver position. I love talking wide receivers, so I'm ready to hop right into it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, this is honestly, as much debate as running back stirs up, arguably wide receiver stirs up even more debate.
Possibly.
So, like, cause it's just like everyone's like, man, because I noticed that, yeah, with rankings, like, people's wide receiver rankings are all over the map. Like, you never know where somebody might have a receiver. Like, I'll just use A.J. Brown as an example. That'll be a name I'm sure we'll debate about. In some lists, I've seen him top 10 in some, on a very few lists, but every night he's top 10. In some, he's not even in the top 25. I'm like, what is going on? Like, it's just no. I'm just saying, receivers
I think he's a special
crazy.
case this year. I think he's a special
crazy.
case.
Yeah, he's the exception out of the norm. Most are a little more stable, but still, though, there's a lot of moving parts at this position. So let's dive right into it. All right, so here we go. Tier 1, we're going to do it just like we did running backs. The first tier will be guys that we feel confident in as our WR1. Guys that you can draft these guys and be like, this is a surefire WR1. Boom, lock it down. Well, drop the hammer, whatever you want to say.
Don't look back.
Yeah, don't look back, yeah.
Don't second guess.
So I'd say, yes. These are 8 guys, and I don't know about you, Josh, but to me, these 8 are definitely worthy to be in this tier, and that's Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, can't believe I almost Julio, Chris Godwin, Kenny Galladay, and Mike Evans. And that's how I have them in order, by the way. We'll have our full rankings in the comments down below or in the description down below.
Yep.
But yeah, that's actually how I have them ranked. It was 8. And I feel good, though. I say this, like, I have them ranked in that order, but I can, safe to say that I feel good about them being in this tier. I'm confident in all 8 of those guys.
Yeah, I actually, whenever you see these rankings, like, and same thing with running backs and whatnot, these aren't the exact order I would draft them in. They're just, I put them all in the same tier. So, like, they're not, when I say these names in these order, don't think, oh, man, you got Julio over this guy, whatever. No, it's just they're all in one
Okay,
tier
so
together.
yours, you just did them tiers for me. Yeah, that's actually how I have them ranked. So for those of y'all butthurt that have Tyreek Hill and hop over Julio,
it's okay.
I'm not a big Julio fan this year, so.
No, but okay, so I actually have the same 8 as you, so I'm not even gonna list all the names because it's the same 8. But I have one more that I'm kind of surprised that you didn't put in your tier 1. So I'm gonna make my case for him real quick. It's Allen Robinson.
Oh yeah, man, I couldn't do it, man. I can't say he's a surefire W.
Allen Robinson has been nothing but consistent over the last, I don't know even how many years, and he's a guy that I've never been able to have on my team. But every time I play against him, he's really good. He's a model of consistency, and I'll throw you one even better. If Nick Foles takes over that team, dude, he might even be a top 5, top 6 wide receiver this year.
That's a hot take. Yeah,
dropping the pin on that one. Just saying.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I gotta say the Nick Foles argument I can get on board with. So I feel like if Foles takes over, that definitely helps his stock. What concerns me though is, yeah, he was really consistent last year, but the couple years prior to that, he was battling injuries. He was battling injuries, and then his first year with the Bears just couldn't ever really get into a rhythm. He'd gotten into a rhythm last year. Gotta give him that, but still though, I don't know. It's hard for me to trust him with my WR1. I'd love him, obviously, the WR2, but I noticed that a lot of people are paying that WR1 price for him, that early 3rd round, and I don't think I can quite swing it that high for A-Rob. Again, we said with the running backs episode with Montgomery, I love Montgomery this year, but upside is capped due to that offense. Matt Nagy, it's hard to trust him. I know A-Rob was trustworthy last year, but with the injury history and just that overall Bears offense, it's just hard for me to get on board with him as a surefire WR1.
Right. Okay, that's fine. Like I say all the time, to each its own. But I'm perfectly fine with having Allen Robinson as my 1, especially because most of the time, if I'm getting him as my 1, that means I've already had at least 2 solid running backs that I have on my team. So I'm perfectly fine with having him as my 1.
Good deal, okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Some people might be confident in that, but again, if you want to talk about definition of consistency over the past few years, that's Keenan Allen, but it's just his quarterback situation took a nosedive this offseason.
He was a little inconsistent last year. it kind of scared me a little bit. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie,
true. Yeah,
especially the
E-Rob
beginning
was a
of the
little
season.
better. Yeah, I'm not trying to make a case for Keenan Allen being tier one.
Right.
I'm just thinking of consistent
If
guys.
anything, a specific guy I'm gonna say in my tier two is someone that I would be perfectly fine with anybody taking over Allen Robinson. But I'll just use that to jump right into tier two.
All right, yeah, let's jump into it.
He's at the
Yeah.
very top of my tier two, and that's Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup finished as the wide receiver 5 last year, and he's also been a very consistent guy over the last couple of years. He's very, very good. He's someone that I battled with putting it in that tier one, and honestly, I probably should have put him in there. The more that I think about it, so I'm actually gonna say that I'm going to put him in there. I'm gonna make an executive decision
Okay.
right now,
All right. There
and
you go. There you go.
I'm gonna actually throw him right at the bottom of my tier one because he's too good, man. He's too good, and especially now they got rid of Brandon Cooks. Not that that was even a big deal anyway, because it's not even like he had a big year last year. Both Robert Woods and Cooper Cup finished ahead of him, but he is gone, so that is a few more targets out there. Cooper Cup and I've said it before. Cooper Cup and Jared Goff just have an amazing chemistry together, and he's someone that I would not cry not one tear if he was my wide receiver one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say that he's at the end of my wide receiver tier one list now. But for my other tier two, I have Adam Thielen and DJ Moore. Those guys are at the top of my tier two list. Those are also guys that are kind of fringing on that tier one. Thielen, he's been nothing short of good the last couple of years. I know you don't like him, but that's fine. He's been nothing short of good the last couple of years.
Not last year.
He was good last year. He wasn't great, but he was good last year. And then now with Stephon Diggs being gone and the fact that there's going to be no fans in the stands, so now we know Kirk Cousins is probably going to be the MVP this year because he's going to have no pressure on him every single game, so he's going to be able to actually play football well. Him and Thielen are going to be completely fine this year, and he's going to give him the ball a crap ton. They're going to be
I was
fine.
actually thinking about that the other day. I feel like Cousins will definitely still have pressure on him because I mean they're still gonna have all the cameras, all the media, all that.
Yeah, but
it's still gonna be a pressure cooker. I mean these games. It's just it's a regular season game. I don't know. I'm not a huge believer in the Vikings offense this year. I mean, Thielen. I mean, the injury was piled up last year. Down the stretch, it was more he had a soft tissue stuff, and I mean, I think he could bounce back this year. But yeah, he's definitely not someone that I'm feeling in tier two. But DJ Moore, I am. DJ Moore, I'm definitely in on tier two. I almost put him in tier one. I was really close to putting him
I
in
was
tier
close
one.
to putting him there too.
Almost made like I said, an executive decision to put him there. And actually, though, there's one thing that's kind of in my crawl about tier one, and I gotta ask you: Tyreek Hill or DeAndre Hopkins? So that's one I've been going back and forth on. You still go Hop, okay? Because actually, lately I've been leaning more Tyreek Hill.
So two things about Hill. Tyreek Hill, he's one of those guys. He can win you a week as well. He can also lose you a week.
He was a little more consistent.
He's a little more consistent
last year.
But that my second point is what scares me about him kind of dropping back on that consistency is that McKeel Hardman is multiple rumors that he's going to be more involved in this offense. In fact, I believe they already took him off of the kick return and punt return coverage because they want to use him more in the offense, and he's Tyreek Hill light, so he could very well see some of those deep targets that Tyreek Hill was seeing, and if that's the case, that could mean some weeks where Tyreek Hill's going to give you 40 points, and then he could go right back to giving you 5 the next week, and that's why I'd rather D Hop. I feel like D Hop's just going to be a little bit more consistent, and it's a little bit safer of a pick.
That's fair. Yeah, splitting hairs between the two. It's just D Hop to switching teams in this crazy all season could hurt him some, but I mean he can do well under any quarterback. I mean Kyler Murray. I love Kyler this year, so I think they'll form a nice connection there in Arizona. So yeah, it's splitting hairs. I probably would still give a slight edge to Tyreek since he's so darn explosive. Have them both over Julio for sure. And then Kenny Galladay is another one I really like. Wanted to address him a little bit. Have him sandwiched in between the Bucks guys, Godwin and Evans. But yeah, Kenny G are really, really liking this year. Hey, Evans or Godwin for you, Josh?
Evans or Godwin? Slight edge to Godwin. I think Godwin,
yeah, I agree on that.
Because it's PPR, I think Godwin he's going to get not significantly more targets, but he's going to get more targets than Evans. He's going to get more catches. I think that's hands down. I don't even think that's a question. Evans is going to get probably more touchdowns. He'll get more of the red zone looks. But don't get it twisted. Godwin's really good in the red zone too, and that's why I have him over him is because it's not just going to be, they're going to be forcing the ball to Gronk and Evans. No, a lot of teams are going to think they're going to do that, and then Godwin may very well surprise us 5 or 6 red zone touchdowns this year. It's very possible. So I have the edge to Godwin. I would draft Godwin before I drafted Edwards, but it's close.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, that's fair. I can get behind that. So back to tier two. I
Yes.
gotta see. I'm gonna go with. I'll just rattle off my tier two guys
Okay.
here for y'all. I'll go. Yeah, that's a DJ Moore. Really confident on him as tier two. Almost put him in tier one. Also have here, yeah, Cooper Cup. I'm with you on Cooper Cup. Allen Robinson. I feel like both of them. You got them in tier one, but I feel like they're both solid tier two guys for me. But they're guys I'm confident in, like low end WR ones. And then I also have this is probably gonna piss you off, guys, but AJ Brown. I got AJ in this tier, man. I love me some AJ Brown this year, and also Calvin Ridley. I have both AJ Brown and Calvin Ridley in this tier. I'm really confident in these guys this year. I think they're both gonna have huge years. Amari Cooper, not a huge fan of him, but had to throw him in here. He's going to get his numbers. It's going to be a roller coaster, but he'll get his numbers at the end of the day. Also have here Juju Smith-Schuster, one of my favorite bounce back candidates. I feel like, I mean, I'm not like a big Juju truther, but I mean, it's inevitable. He's going to bounce back. I mean, Big Ben's back. He's going to be healthy. I mean, that's the thing. He had no quarterback, and his health wasn't there last year. So with both of them back, he'll be good. And then Cortland Sutton had to throw in here. He's someone that a lot of people in the industry seem to be sleeping on. And a lot of people are like, well, he's not just WR3. But to me, I trust him as a WR2. I really would. And then I also have to throw in here a couple guys that I'm not quite as high on as some, but to me, they're still worthy of being this tier. And that's Odell Beckham and Robert Woods. Odell, I mean, I wouldn't feel great about it as a WR2, but I could do it. I feel like it's because the upsides there. We had a hot debate about that, kind of going back and forth. I kind of saw what you were saying. I had to throw him in here. And then Robert Woods is just the definition of consistency. Just you know what you're getting there. Great rapport with Jared Goff, a throw first offense. So yeah, but that's where I'm cutting it off though.
Really?
So who you got?
Ooh, there are some names that I'm very surprised that you haven't said. But I'll get to that. So I'll actually name. So the guys that you have that I have also is Woods. Um, let's see. You said Odell. I have Odell. I have Ridley. I also have AJ Brown to make you happy. But he's at the bottom.
There you go.
He's at the bottom. He's one of those guys where if the rest of these guys are taken, I'll go ahead and probably take him. But I haven't drafted him yet because I don't draft him as high as other people do. I also have Cortland Sutton on there. I'm very surprised you don't have Tyler Lockett in your tier two.
Oh no, not even close.
Because Tyler Lockett can win you leagues. I understand.
He can also lose you.
I
understand.
He can also lose you.
Consistent.
I mean, he's not. If you go look at the numbers last year, he's not that much worse than Tyreek Hill as far as the consistency goes.
Oh, Tyreek Hill is definitely more consistent. I feel like. I can look at the numbers.
But I also have
the numbers are gonna bear out Tyreek. I mean, Tyler Lockett's inconsistencies were whoa. I mean, shoot. I mean, he was as bad. He was worse than Amari Cooper.
So, oh Lord, Jesus, don't get me started. So I also have also have DK in there, who is also on Seattle. DK is up and coming. We saw last year the kind of damage this guy can do.
High on the Seattle receivers.
Yeah. I mean, Russ is the second best quarterback in the league, so I'm going to be high on pretty much anybody that's in that offense. And so DK Metcalf could absolutely take that next step. He could honestly be a guy where he could stay in this tier 2 next year, or he could absolutely be in that tier 1 come next year.
Great
Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry, if you want to talk about consistency, this guy it doesn't matter where he's at, doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball, the guy puts up points. He still quietly finished as the wide receiver 12 last year. He still finished as a wide receiver 1. The guy is just the model of consistency. He's so good, man. I can't leave him off of this tier 2 list. I would be perfectly fine with having him as my wide receiver 2 all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the.
And then one more guy that I'm kind of surprised you didn't put on here, Devontae Parker. Now look, I'm not the biggest
put him, to be honest.
I'm not the biggest Devontae Parker truther out there, but he is a guy where if he's sitting there and a lot of these guys have already been taken, and I already feel confident about my running backs. I already have my wide receiver 1 set. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with taking him there because no matter whether you have Ryan Fitzpatrick or whether you have Tua, you're either going to get a gunslinger in Fitzpatrick that's going to, if anything, he's going to force targets to him. Doesn't matter if he's double teamed or whatever. He's going to at least give him the opportunity with targets. And then with Tua, you get a guy who's probably not going to be as much of a bomb thrower, but he's a lot more consistent. He's a lot more accurate, and he'll put the ball in the right places for Devontae Parker. So I was okay with putting him at the bottom of my tier 2 list.
Good deal, man. Yeah, you had a few more than I did. Yeah, I feel like tier two though. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
my
it's
tier
like
two list
guys.
is big.
Yeah, you have a lot of guys you trusted your WR2. I'm not quite as wanting to trust these guys in my WR2. I mean, some of these guys in this in. We'll move on to tier three here. Although before I do, I'm trying to see something. I mean, Jarvis Landry. He's somebody I like. He's in my tier three, but I just can't quite get on board him as WR2. He's coming off hip surgery. Could start a little slow. I'm not too concerned about that. But I mean, it's a run first offense, and I think he'll do well as he'll be consistent. But I don't know. I feel a little better about Robert Wood because it's just the Rams. You know they're gonna throw. Or the Browns, it's gonna be a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
running and
I mean I'm
just.
gonna pick Robert Woods before I pick Jarvis Landry also, but you gotta understand also. I'm normally a guy that picks three running backs before I have my two wide receivers. So whether that means running back, wide receiver, running back, or whether that means running back, and then wide receiver, I'm more than likely going to have my three running backs before I pick my wide receiver two. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times these wide receiver twos I'm talking about, these are guys I'm picking in the fifth round. So yeah, it's a little bit different because I draft a little bit different than other people, but that's why I have them in my specific tier right there because I might be drafting them a little bit later than a typical wide receiver two is going to be drafted.
I
Basically.
got you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all guys definitely in the discussion. Yeah, let's dive into tier three
Mm-hmm.
here, which is this is gonna aggravate you, I know, but Adam Thielen is gonna kick off tier three for me. I know you're gonna be like, put some respect on him, man. Which
That's crazy.
I'm trying to, but it's hard because I don't really trust him this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then after him, we've got Keenan Allen. I feel like deserves it. He almost made tier two because he's so consistent. But I mean, the quarterback change is a little concerning
Did I
for
mention
me.
that I have him in tier two?
And so I know you didn't.
If I didn't,
I
if I
thought you
didn't, I
missed
do.
your
I'm
tier
sorry.
two.
If I didn't, I have Keenan Allen also in my tier two. He's kind of with the whole Odell thing where I understand last year was inconsistent, blah blah blah, but they're so talented, man. It's just they're those guys that could easily give you wide receiver one production if they can get connection with their quarterback. So yeah, I also have him in tier two.
I got
But
you.
yeah,
Did Sutton make your tier two?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
he did. Okay.
He was near the bottom, but yeah, he's on my tier two.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, let's say I feel a little better about Sutton than you, but you can at least respect that he's rock solid. And
Right.
so yeah, Adam Thielen, Keenan Allen, Devontae Parker definitely makes this tier for me. Gotta go with Devontae. I almost put him in tier two, but it's just it's a fluid quarterback situation, a little concerning. I can't quite put him in tier two, but I definitely love him as a WR3, and I could get by on him as a WR2 if I like they go triple running backs to start. And then DJ Chark, like DJ Chark this year. I know you're down on Jacksonville, but I feel like DJ Chark. I mean, he's gonna make the best of a bad situation there. I feel like. Got a good report, Minshew. I mean, he broke out last year. I think it's gonna be more of the same for him this year. I think he'll be a solid guy, be a great flex play and a solid WR2 most weeks. Stephon Diggs is another one that I feel like deserves to be in this tier three. Stephon Diggs, I know he's switching teams, not the best situation there in Buffalo, but I feel like he'll be productive enough most weeks to be that borderline WR2 great flex play. And then I also got to throw in DK and Tyler Lockett. I'm not huge on either one. I definitely prefer DK over Tyler Lockett. But I feel like they'll both be a little turbulent. Lockett more so than Metcalf. Metcalf, I really think could break out, especially in the second half. But I just feel like with that Seahawks run first philosophy, it kind of caps both of their upsides. And so, because of that, as a guy like that, I feel like deserves this tier, and a lot of people are kind of sleeping on is Tyler Boyd. I feel like Tyler Boyd is somebody that gets slept on a lot because the Bengals are going to throw it. I mean, they got Joe Burrow there now. I feel like it's definitely an upgrade over Andy Dalton. And Zach Taylor, their head coach, already loves to throw the football, as evidenced last year by the fact that he didn't use Joe Mixon much to start. He probably kind of was forced to use Mixon there down the stretch, in which I think it'll be a more balanced approach this year. But I still think they'll throw enough for Tyler Boyd to once again be a 1,000-yard receiver. And I think he'll even expand upon that because with Burrow at quarterback, we know Burrow loves the slot, as evidenced by his time at LSU with Justin Jefferson. I mean, that was a perfect connection, and Boyd's going to play that slot role that Jefferson played. So, I mean, I think that's going to be a nice combination, and Boyd's going to be a rock solid WR3 with WR2 upside. And Scary Terry McLaurin, somebody. I know he's on the Washington football team, not an ideal situation, but this dude's mega talented. He's got so much talent. If he was on a team other than Washington, he'd be in my tier 2 for sure.
Yep.
But because he's stuck on that graveyard of a squad, he's in tier 3. but he's still someone I feel pretty confident drafting there in about the 5th, 6th round. And then trying to think, oh yeah, Jarvis, gotta put Jarvis in here. Gotta go with Jarvis. I mean, I know I'm not as high on him as you are, but I've gotta put respect on his name. He's very, very consistent. Somebody I've actually managed to grab him in 2 industry experts leagues. He's falling pretty late in those. I was super flex drafts. I think I got him in the 7th round in both,
which is crazy.
I know he's my WR3. So I mean,
that's great.
I was
that's great.
perfectly fine with
as you should
that. Be. And then I'm trying to think anyone else that could get onto this tier 3 here, and I believe we've covered everyone that I have in tier 3, but you, sir, get into your.
When it comes to tier 3, this is the part where it gets really hard because so many wide receivers have value at this point to where you can almost make a case for 20, 30 wide receivers that you could pick as your wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 area, because that's what this tier 3 is. These are guys that are wide receiver 3 to 4 area that you can be okay with bumping up to your slot if you need to. But most of the times they're going to probably be on your bench to start the year. So I kind of cut it down to about 11 guys. I'm going to list them all and then I'll kind of talk about a couple because you hit on a couple of them that I agree with you. I also have Diggs in here. Diggs is at the top of the tier 3 list. He's kind of someone I went back and forth with. I kind of just want to see if there's a good connection with him and Josh Allen first before getting too crazy on him. But I've drafted him as a wide receiver 2 in a couple leagues, a couple mock drafts where I have, solidified all my running backs and I got a solid wide receiver 1. And then he was sitting there. And I'm like, all right, I can get on board with that. So he's up there. DJ Shark is also up there. I am down on the Jaguars, but he's talented. He's a good wide receiver. He's a speedster. So the production is there. The opportunity is there for really good, sneaky flex options. You hit on Tyler Boyd. I absolutely agree with everything you said about Tyler Boyd, but I also have AJ Green in this list. And the reason why, and I get it. The guy's going to probably be hurt. Okay, I get it. You want
already
this guy,
hurt. He's already hurt.
You want this guy on your bench. Trust me, I get it. But he is so talented that if he can stay on the field, especially with a guy like Joe Burrow throwing the ball now, who is just so precise and accurate with his throws and so precise with his connection to route running, dude, you can't ignore the fact that if AJ Green does stay on the field, he could go back to easily being a monster. Will he though? Probably not. So, temper your expectations. But I'm putting him in that tier strictly for potential alone. All right. I also have T.Y. Hilton on this. He's at the bottom of this tier.
Yeah, another one that can't stay on the field. That's why I couldn't quite put him and AJ in there. So I feel like they're guys, if you draft them, you're just gonna be like, damn it, why did I waste a pick on these guys?
But the guy is so darn explosive that if he can stay on the field, he can give you some very good flex options. You touched on Scary Terry. I love Scary Terry. Don't like where he's at. The team sucks, but I do like Scary Terry because he's a very good young wide receiver. So I actually have 4 more wide receivers you didn't mention I want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about one that you mentioned in your tier 2 list, but he's in my tier 3, and that's Juju.
Down on Juju, I think.
Yeah, I didn't like what I saw last year. I get that if Big Ben stays on the field, he'll probably get better production. Do I think he's going to stay on the field the whole year? No. But he could, and if he does, sure. Maybe he'll be able to get bumped up into that wide receiver 2 area. But I'm just not trusting Big Ben staying on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll stay on the field. I just don't think he'll be as effective, which is why I'm not putting Juju even in my WR1 tier. But.
Yeah. So I'm just not that high on him. Maybe come next year he'll be back in my tier 2 list. But for now, he's going to stay in tier 3. Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown is somebody that last year, I think I mentioned this in our draft video, he played hurt all year last year. I think he played with screws in his foot, and the guy was still showing that he was probably the most explosive player on the field every game he stepped into. Now he's fully healthy, and he's come out and talked about how fully healthy he is and how ready he is for this season. The guy could be a monster this year. He's a sleeper pick. He's a dark horse pick for somebody that could be in the tier 1 area next year. So I'm perfectly fine with having him as my wide receiver 3/4. Perfectly fine with that. Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is somebody that I think could have a very big year this year, especially with all the attention that Hopkins is going to bring. He's already shown that he's got connection with Kyler Murray. So if we do see a lot of double, triple teams going towards Hopkins' way, that's going to be one-on-one build for Christian Kirk all year long. And yeah, you can give me Christian Kirk one-on-one with a second string cornerback all day. I'll gladly take that. The last two guys, Emmanuel Sanders and Darius Slayton. I'm not going to talk too much about them. Emmanuel Sanders, basically, he's going to be a wide receiver too, in arguably the best, either top three offense in the league in the Saints. That's what we've been missing, and I think he fits the bill perfect. If he can stay on the field, stay out of injury, I think he'll easily be a wide receiver two this year. Uh, the only reason why he's not in my tier two is because he could get hurt again, and sure. And then Darius Slayton is he's a promising young wide receiver, man.
Agreed. Love Slayton.
Especially with Danny Dimes slinging that ball back there, man. Dude, just don't be surprised if this guy has a killer year this year. So yeah, so that's my tier three list.
Okay, yeah, you included a little more, like some more, so I'm gonna expand upon mine too and add some guys. I say, I mean, as much as I don't like T.Y. Hilton and A.J. Green, I have to include them here. Of course, got Hollywood Brown. I mean, the upsides there. I don't like the offense. It's a run first offense there in Baltimore, so the upsides cap. But I have to say he would make the tier if I'm expanding it into the guys that I would minus WR4. Another guy I feel like that's been slipping through the cracks in a lot of drafts because, I know they drafted CD and all that, but Michael Gallup, Michael Gallup is somebody, to me, that's getting slept on a ton. A lot of times he ends up a good value because, I mean, they had Randall Cobb there last year who absorbed a good amount of targets, so, I mean, CD, if he gets those, he might get, I'm sure he'll get more than Randall Cobb, but, I mean, still, though, Gallup should do well enough to be like that in that range, that WR3 flex type deal.
Real quick, to that point, I find it funny that neither one of us had mentioned Amari Cooper yet.
I put him in my tier 2.
You did? I did not hear you.
Oh wait, you didn't put him in yours? I just kind of assumed it. Wait, he doesn't make your tier 3?
He might be at the bottom, but I don't.
Damn, so you're just out on Dallas completely?
I'm out on Cooper.
And Gallup? Because you didn't have either one in your tier 3.
Gallup was someone that I struggled with putting in my tier 3. And like I said, tier 3 could consist of 30 wide receivers. So sure, like my extended tier 3 list, sure, you could put Gallup in there. He's just not someone that I really care to talk about. And same thing with Cooper. I just...
God, so I'm guessing on Dak.
Yep. Well, no, Dak's gonna be fine because Dak has 65 weapons to throw to. And they're gonna throw the ball 100 times a game because that's apparently what they want to do now.
Oh, if they throw that much, those weapons are gonna eat. They're definitely gonna be.
And then they're gonna lose again, like they always do. So yeah, I mean, no, fantasy wise, he'll be fine, but yeah.
You just don't. You think the 3 weapons are gonna kind of?
I think they're all gonna be
consistent.
Yeah,
okay,
they're all gonna be inconsistent, and I want nothing to do with any of them.
I got that. I just think it'll take CD a few weeks to really get going. I think Cooper, he'll probably start off well, and once he does, trade him away. Because then CD will break out.
It's going to be a nightmare trying to figure out which one to put in each week.
Inconsistent, yeah. And then another guy I feel like we got to throw in, not a sexy pick, but Julian Edelman. I mean, the guy was a PPR stud last year. I know Brady's gone, but I mean, he's still somebody that should be in the WR3 discussion, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so consistent. He's rock solid. I mean, even with Cam, I feel like he'll do well enough to be in this tier. And then you touched on Slayton, definitely worthy to be there. And another guy I feel like similar to Slayton that could break out this year. I know you probably disagree because you're not at all in on the Steelers offense, but Deontay Johnson. I feel like Deontay Johnson could do really well this year. I think it's gonna be the offense is gonna run through him and Juju and then Connor. I feel like it'll be just them. I feel like kind of like remember when Big Ben it was just Juju and AD.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying Deontay's like AB, but I mean, I think it'll be similar. I think he's going to heavily target those two. He's going to heavily target those two. And the rest is just going to be a guessing game. Like Chase Claypool, James Washington, don't touch them. But I feel like Deontay and Juju are going to be very consistent and see a healthy amount of targets week in and week out.
Yeah. That's fine. I don't really care about either one of them. Again, I think they'll be a little inconsistent, so I'm kind of just staying away from both of them. I could be wrong about Juju, but I'm just staying away from them. I'm okay with passing on them.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. And then one more guy if I have to throw in here. I don't like this guy, but let's face it, he's got a lot of upside, and then where he landed, it was a good spot. Brandon Cooks. I mean, that's a good spot in Houston. Deshaun's going to sling. It's just the concussion history, all that concerns me.
Yep. But
when he's on the field, Brandon Cooks should do pretty well there in Houston.
And of course, if Will Fuller can stay on the field, him too, he could be a wide receiver 1 this year if he would stay on the field, but he's
I
not.
was saying that before the Cooks trade, but I feel like when the Cooks trade happened, that hurt him his upside.
I think even still, I think if Hopkins doesn't hurt his value on the field, I don't see Cook hurting his. Because
even when he was on the field, he was really inconsistent.
That man would give you 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns, and he'd suck, and then he'd be injured. It was just like,
no, man.
Yeah, but it was frustrating.
But yeah, I don't think he'll stay on the field anyway, so that's why I'm not even.
Yeah, for sure. And so, all right, I think that about wraps it up for tier 3.
Yep.
And so before we cap the episode off, we'll each get one post-hype breakout, and one rookie breakout. I'll let you start it off.
Okay,
who's your post-hype breakout?
Well,
that's going late that could really pop off and help you win a title.
Let me actually start off with my rookie.
Okay.
And my rookie is going to be Justin Jefferson. And
I stole mine. Well, I have others in mind.
It was hard to go between Justin Jefferson and Jerry Jeudy. But I chose Justin Jefferson because both of them really have pathway targets right off the bat. They're both going to be the wide receiver 2 in their offense. They're both going to be on the field pretty much close to the entire game. But Justin Jefferson has already came out and said that he's very comfortable with the offense, basically saying that the offense is very similar to what LSU runs. So he's already super comfortable with it. So that tells me that him and Kirk Cousins are already seeing a chemistry together. And he's a very good route runner. And he's a very good timing route runner. And I think that's going to work well with Kirk Cousins. I think Adam Thielen's going to see a lot of double teams, and it's going to open the door for a lot of one-on-ones with Justin Jefferson. Whereas I don't think Cortland Sutton is going to see as many double teams. So I don't think Jerry Jeudy is going to see as many direct one-on-ones as Justin Jefferson will. And so that's why I think Justin Jefferson, I'm giving him the slight edge for my rookie breakout.
Cool deal. And do you want to go with your post-hype, or you want me to?
I want to hear your rookie first.
You want my rookie? All right. Well, as much as I want to say Jerry Jeudy, it's just, they also have KJ Hamler, and then, of course, Sutton's there, so it's just like, I think Jeudy will do very well. He's definitely one of my favorite rookies, but I'm gonna go bold here and go with Jalen Reagor. I'm going to go with Reagor here as my rookie because I feel like he's in a great situation for success in Philadelphia, much like Jefferson in Minnesota. Like, I feel like the pathway to targets is very much there for Jalen Reagor because Alshon Jeffrey is going to miss the first few weeks. That's going to clear out a lot of targets right off the bat. And then Deshaun Jackson, he is getting up there. He is not trustworthy in his old age. And then he's the biggest deep threat, and that's kind of what Reagor is. So, I think they'll both be kind of like they're like outside, and they'll have like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Greg Ward in the slot, 2 tight ends, a lot of 12 personnel. But I feel like Reagor is going to be on the field a lot as a rookie. At first it was like, oh, they got D-Jax and Alshon. But the fact is, neither one of those guys are trustworthy. And probably by year's end, they'll probably both be on IR. So, and at that point, guess who's going to be racking up? Jalen Reagor. And we know Carson Wentz loves to throw. He's got a big arm. So take Reagor late, stash him. He might not be super great right out the gate, but he might be, though, because, Alshon's injured. So, take Reagor. He could really pop off and possibly win you a title.
So, with this post type, is this guys that we're drafting super, super late we're talking about?
It can be. It's just guys that you feel like you can get late that, let's say, were like rookies or just kind of guys that had a lot of hype heading into last year type of thing, and are guys that you feel like now that the hype train's cooled off, these are the kind of guys that can snag.
I have someone right in mind. I have someone that there was a lot of hype with this guy going into last year. He didn't do anything until probably about week 10, maybe week 11, and then he started showing some consistency towards the end. And then I'm going to explain why I'm back on the hype train for this year. And that is, I can't remember his name now.
I think I know who you're talking about.
The name just...
Is it Anthony Miller?
It's Anthony Miller,
yes. Knew it. When he's out, I knew it. Anthony Miller.
Thank you, because I was drawing a blank. So, yes, Anthony Miller, the reason why is because, number one, you drafted this guy pretty much as your last pick of the draft, as far as your bench goes. And, look, man, he was starting to show consistency last year, consistency towards the end of the season. But once again, if Nick Foles takes over this offense, that gives a bump.
Man loves the Bears.
It gives a bump to all the wide receivers right off the bat, but specifically for Anthony Miller because Allen Robinson, once again, he could see double teams just as much. Anthony Miller is a very good route runner. I think him and Nick Foles can get immediate chemistry together, and you're looking at 8 to 10 targets a game possible. Or 8 to 10 catches. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, they might dip in the A-Rob's target share.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah,
He could.
although, yeah,
I think Nagy's gonna want to throw the ball enough to where it's not gonna matter. I think they
yeah,
both could
true.
get
Yeah, they
plenty of
both could
targets.
do well. Yeah, Foles is slinging it. Yeah, it's just so that yeah, the defense is gonna be good. They won't be throwing it a ton. But yeah, no, I think Milano could be a nice post hype guy. The only thing is his value's trending upward. I mean,
It
he's
is
not.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, he's not someone you can just grab really late anymore. I mean, you can grab him late for sure. He's a good post hype candidate, but he's someone that a lot of people seem to be catching on to here.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, another one that people are catching on to is Nicole Hardman. It's to the point like. I mean, I think Nicole could break out big, especially if Watkins inevitably gets injured. But it's like it's just hard for me to really get on board. And considering a lot of times he goes in like the 9th, 10th round. But I'll give you one really deep here. Okay. That's a guy, a post type guy. I think he's going way too late. A lot of times he goes undrafted, and that's Paris Campbell.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Paris Campbell. It could be the steal of the draft, post-type sleeper. Because let's face it, last year as a rookie, he came in. Well, Andrew Luck was the quarterback. Like at this point, like early in the offseason, like they're like, man, that Colts offense is gonna be so lethal. We got Andrew Luck, we got this rookie slot guy, Paris Campbell. Yep. He's gonna eat like. And then it's just I mean, Luck retires, and then Campbell's rookie season goes in the toilet. I mean, he just did nothing.
He had a few good weeks, if I'm
did pretty much nothing last year. Yeah, other than those few, I was about to say he had like 2 or 3 like somewhat decent weeks, but it just his whole season got derailed by injury. He had I believe 4 different injuries. I think he had like a foot injury, a sports hernia, a hamstring. Like it was just one thing after another. But Paris has come out and said he's like, look, I'm healthy now. I've changed up my routine. Changed up my regimen to where I'm ready for the NFL. I don't think he was ready as a rookie. I think he was just kind of like deer in the headlights, just wasn't ready. Where now that he knows what it takes to be an NFL receiver, and he's standing out, y'all. They're saying like Paris Campbell tearing it up in Colts practice, and it makes sense because Phillip Rivers loves his slot guy. Yep. He loves starting the slot. I mean, look at Keenan Allen the past 3 years with the Chargers. I mean, he's been the definition of consistency out of the slot with Phillip Rivers starting every game. So I mean, I'm not saying Paris is going to do that well. I'm not saying he's going to be like Keenan Allen, but I definitely think he could catch 70 to 80 balls with 800 to 900, or maybe even 1,000 yards if things break right. If T.Y. Hilton inevitably goes down, and I mean the touchdowns could be, I mean, not going to be a lot, but I mean it'll be enough to where like he'll be, I think, pretty consistent, like a borderline flex a lot of weeks, even with T.Y. But if T.Y. Hilton goes down, y'all, I think Paris Campbell will be the steal of the draft. I think if T.Y. Hilton goes down, he'll be like a WR3, someone you can trust as a starter. And like you're getting him a lot of times in the 15th round, 16th round, somebody you can just grab at the end. And then even if he doesn't do anything, let's say just a bust, like a bust of a prospect, which I don't think he is. I think he's got a lot of talent. But even if he does, even if his talent doesn't translate, you're not losing anything. 15th, 16th round, okay, well just drop him. You don't lose anything. It's a no-lose situation. To me, Paris Campbell is, for me, the best post-type sleeper out there.
Yeah. As much as I'm not a big fan of Phillip Rivers, as far as like winning games goes, he was one of the league leaders in yards last year. He likes to chuck the football. So, and like you said, he loves a slot guy. I'm with you on that one.
Cool deal. All right, so yeah, that's about wraps it up. We'll have our full rankings list, 72 deep on IG. That'll be up there for y'all. And so yeah, that's I think that's about it for me. I mean, we dove pretty deep there. And then you got any more you'd like to talk about?
No, I mean honestly, we could talk for hours when it comes to
the wide receiver really
pool.
Good.
The wide receiver pool is so
deep. We really could.
We gave you guys a good list of about 30 guys, 30 plus guys that you can feel confident on draft day taking. So good luck.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah, very much so. Very good. We want 2020 to go well for y'all. It's been a rough ride, but yes, we need good fortune on our side. But that's what the Guru Nation podcast is here for.
That's right.
Get y'all right for draft day. All right, y'all. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Catch y'all later.